Hey, Agatha. It's been a really long time. It's me, Charlotte.
What? Charlotte? Is that really you? My goodness, how many years has it been? I haven't heard from you at all since you left the orphanage and got married. You never even came back to see me. You had me worried. How are you?
I'm okay. Well, actually, I'm not okay at all.
Why not? What's wrong?
Listen, Agatha, the thing is, I got kicked out of the house.
What? Kicked out?
I'm at the police station near the train station right now. They're letting me use one of their phone chargers. I was so desperate to contact you. I feel so embarrassed having to ask you this. But can I come back to the orphanage? I have nowhere to go after being kicked out. There's nowhere else I can stay, and no one else I can turn to. I don't even know where I'm gonna sleep tonight.
Oh, Charlotte, you poor thing. Of course you can. I'll have someone come out to pick you up immediately. Just stay where you are, okay?
Thank you so much.
What exactly do you mean when you say you got kicked out? This is all such a shock. Were things not going well at home? What the devil happened?
My husband Dexter and his parents used to be so unbelievably kind to me. I felt like the luckiest girl in the world to have such wonderful people in my life. Until we got married. When we did, he asked me to quit my job so I could stay at home and support him. It didn't sound so bad at the time, but he asked me to move in with him and his parents, and that was when everything changed. All of a sudden, his mom and dad, who up until then had been the kindest people I'd ever met, started treating me like dirt. It was like living with demons. They said I was obliged to be their family servant because they, to quote them, gave my miserable life meaning by adopting me. They forced me to work like a dog every single day, from 3 a.m. in the morning to 12 midnight. I wasn't even allowed to take a break to sit down. All of my clothes and personal belongings from before I got married were either sold or thrown away. For no reason, I'd be ordered to get on my knees in front of them all of a sudden, and they'd all take turns yelling at me. If there was ever something they didn't like, they'd just throw away my food or personal belongings. If I ever complained, they'd yell at how I should just be grateful I'm not an orphan anymore.
Oh my God, Charlotte.
Today, Dexter brought home some young girl. What use are you if you can't even have kids? You're an abject failure, you barren wasteland of a woman. You had a duty to provide me with sons, how dare you? You ungrateful witch. We should have just left you in an orphanage. These were just some of the things he yelled at me in front of his new girlfriend. When he was done making me feel like I wanted to curl up and die, he told me they were getting married and ordered me to leave. He basically kicked me out with nothing but the clothes on my back. I lost 10 kilograms due to stress since I moved in with them. He rejected me every time I tried to go near him. I can't even look at you as a woman, you're hideous, was his usual reaction.
Oh my God! I can't believe you went through all this. As if bullying and emotionally abusing you wasn't enough, he cheated on you as well? No way! Was the reason I didn't hear from you since you got married because they confiscated your cell phone?
No. Ironically, my cell phone was the only thing I did keep. I hid it because I didn't want them to sell that too. You gave it to me as a present when I left the orphanage, and it was the only thing I had that reminded me of you. There was no way I was going to let them take it from me. I didn't have a charger, though. The reason I couldn't contact you all this time was because my battery was dead. The first thing I did after he booted me out was to look for somewhere I could charge my phone. So that's how I'm able to message you now.
Oh God, what have they done to you, Charlotte? He will not get away with this.
I'm so sorry to trouble you like this. Ugh, It's so embarrassing to have to rely on you like this, despite being in my 20s now. Even if it's just until I can find a new job and somewhere to live. Please, can I live at the orphanage again for a little while? I'll do chores, odd jobs, help look after the younger children, anything.
Don't be so silly. You don't have anything to apologize for. I'll always see you as my own daughter, and you'll always be welcome at the orphanage. If you want to come home, you can come home whenever you want to. What kind of mother would I be if I said anything otherwise?
Agatha.
Whether you find yourself to live or not, you can stay for as many months, or as many years as you like. This orphanage is your home. I'm an old dear, well into my 70s now, so it's probably more appropriate to call me your grandma than your mom. But I'll always be here for you, Charlotte. Never forget that.
Thank you so much.
I'll run you a nice hot bath and cook you some meatloaf and apple pie and custard. You only have one job when you get here, and that's to relax, unwind, and forget about all the horrible stuff you've been through. Leave the rest to me. Good evening, Dexter. It's been a while. This is Agatha, the head mistress of the orphanage Charlotte grew up in. She just contacted me in great distress. It seems like we have some things to discuss. She told me everything about how you and your parents have been treating her like less than human, like your own personal slave since the moment you got married. On top of that, you cheated on her, brought your lover home and kicked Charlotte out on the streets, didn't you? Tell me, did you ever think you were going to get away with such despicable behavior? It's obvious you've seen my messages. I can see the red marks, you know. If you can muster up the courage, you're free to respond at any time.
Shut your mouth, you old hag! I don't know a frickin' thing about any of this crap. That psycho is just fantasizing. She's crazy, I tell you.
You only have to look at her to see it's all true. She's emaciated and has huge bags under her eyes. She's in a constant state of anxiety and fear. All it takes is a door opening to make her jump out of her skin. How does that happen to a girl who was once so fit and healthy, so outgoing, vibrant, and bubbly? She was a picture of health when she left the orphanage. She barely weighs 40 kilograms now. Her clothes were all tattered and worn out, and she hardly even had any personal belongings.
Like I told you, I don't know nothing about any of this. Anyway, even if I did do something to her, she was a miserable orphan, and me and my folks were kind enough to adopt her. Which means we can treat her however we goddamn want to.
Excuse me? Are you being serious right now?
Besides, what the heck does it have to do with you? You ain't Charlotte's mom, you ain't her gran. You're just some wrinkled-up old hag sat up on a high horse who thinks she can scare me. Something bad might happen if you don't learn to stay out of other people's business. You catch my drift, lady?
I'm very disappointed in you, Dexter. You seemed so sweet and kind when you came to introduce yourself before the wedding. I'm actually disappointed in myself for not seeing right through you. As Charlotte's guardian, I have a duty to make you pay for what you've done, and pay you will. Are you prepared for the hell that's coming your way?
Oh, I'm quaking in my boots! What's some wrinkled-up old hag gonna do to me? You gonna chase me on your Zimmer frame? Write me a sternly worded letter? If you wanna do this, then let's do this! You wanna get taken down, lady?
Great, it's settled then. I'll make sure you remember what you just said to me.
Hey, Charlotte! What the hell did that old hag do? You got any idea how much trouble you're in, girl? You just goddamn wait! Answer me! I know you're looking.
Good morning, Dexter. This is the old hag. What can I do for you?
I ain't interested in talking to you, hag! Put me on to Charlotte now!
Charlotte's been looking after the children right now. But even if she wasn't busy, I wouldn't let you speak to her in a million years. What do you want? Make it quick. You seem to be in quite the panic. Anyone would think you received a court summons or something.
Aha! I knew it! I knew it was you! You're gonna pay for this, mark my words, hag! The heck are you two trying to pull? You're dragging me into court like some criminal! On what charges? I ain't done nothing!
It was patently obvious Charlotte was going to take you to court after the way you behaved. You've been summoned to take part in the divorce mediation on countless occasions by now. But you ignored the call every single time. You didn't show up to even a single meeting, did you? As a result, the mediation ended in failure, which means she had no choice but to take you to divorce court. Anyone could have seen this coming. If you'd have just come to the meetings, none of this would have been happening.
Oh, don't come at me with this legal jargon thinking you're all clever. I ain't playing your silly games, hag! Why the hell should I have to go out of my way to go to court to deal with some miserable orphan's emotional issues? I ain't no shrink! If you got business with me, then you come to me. I'm a busy guy. You get me?
Oh dear, you seem to be suffering from a severe deficient intelligence. You don't have to come if you don't want to, you know, if your time's so valuable and you really can't make it. Don't you worry yourself one bit. All that means is that you'll owe Charlotte $60,000 in compensation.
You what?
As a rule, if you don't show up to the trial, you lose the case by default, which means that you're obligated to pay the full amount of the claimant's requested compensation without even getting the chance to defend yourself. Let's face it though, even if you did show up to try and defend yourself, you still wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
What? Why not?
It just so happens that one of the children I raised in this orphanage is now a very successful lawyer. His area of expertise also just so happens to be divorce law. All it would take is one phone call. I do hate the idea of causing him a nuisance, but I get the feeling he'd drop everything if he had to help me in my time of need. Thinking about everything you did to her. Harassment, bullying, cheating, stealing. As well as all the rest, this clearly isn't a fight you can win.
Whatever! This crap just ain't gonna stand up. It ain't got no legs. Harassment, cheating? I ain't got the foggiest idea what you're talking about. I ain't that kind of guy. If you ain't got proof, then you're nothing but a doof.
Well, now that you mention it, I also just so happen to have a friend who runs a private investigation agency. One phone call was all it took. I have enough proof to take you to court 10 times over. To give some specific examples, how about bringing your lover back home to flaunt her in front of your wife, despite the fact you're still very much married? It seems like you're known as quite the womanizing sleazeball around the neighborhood, too. I heard some very interesting stories. Not just the cheating either. Surprisingly, they even knew about the abuse, too. Do you ever get the feelings your neighbors avoid you?
Huh?
Another one of the girls who grew up in the orphanage became a doctor. Charlotte went in for an examination at her practice and provided me with documentation on all of the physical damage you've caused her, all permissible as evidence in court. Do you understand now? We're certainly not going to struggle proving anything. Nothing you could possibly say will get you out of the 200-meter hole you dug yourself into.
You're lying! Ain't no way any of this is true. You expect me to believe a miserable orphan like her can afford to hire lawyers and private investigators? Oh, don't make me laugh. She ain't got the money to take me down.
It's true. You and your parents did steal all of her money and leave her with nothing, which is why I'm paying for everything.
You're doing what? Why the heck you gonna use good money on some waste of space with no parents? She ain't even blood to you. You gotta be kidding me. Ain't no one that stupid.
Whether we're related by blood or not means nothing to me. I raised her as if she was my own daughter. She's my family and I love her. What other reason do I need than that she's family? There's nothing I wouldn't do to protect her.
God freaking damn it, alright fine. You win, I'll apologize. She can have all her stuff back. I'll even give her some money to show I'm sorry, alright? We'll be square then, won't we?
Do you seriously think you're getting off that lightly? Don't be so ridiculous. If we're going to do this, and we are going to do this, then we're going to do it properly. No one lays their hands on my daughter and gets away with it. You're going to regret being born when I'm finished with you, boy. Surely you knew this would happen when you decided to victimize and abuse my Charlotte. Surely you weren't stupid enough to believe there'd be no consequences.
What? You threatening me?
I might not look much, but believe it or not, I used to be the CEO of a major company. My son took over when I retired, and he's running the show these days. I still talk to him regularly when he needs help with management-related things. I'm kind of like his personal advisor.
So what? You think I care about some crappy company?
Did you know that that crabby company is your company's biggest client?
Say what?
I made a few recommendations to my son at the time you two got married, after I found out you worked in the same industry as us. As a result, he turned down some very generous offers from other companies in favor of establishing a major trading contract with yours. At the time, I thought I was doing a good thing by making a gesture towards my son-in-law, but clearly I made a mistake. I think it's time my son terminated the contract. It's not like it was ever a particularly profitable contract for us, and to be honest, I regret allowing my personal affairs to get mixed up with my professional life.
Wait, what? What?
Don't get too excited yet, I'm not finished. Next, there's the company your dad works at. Another one of the boys who grew up in my orphanage happens to be the CEO of his company's parent company. Well, I say boy, but he's 50 now.
No, wait! You're going after my freaking dad now? No, wait, you can't!
Oh, one more thing. You and your parents rent your house, don't you? You're not going to believe this. The coincidences are almost piling up too high now. But I also happen to be friends with a major real estate magnate. And you'll never guess whose house he owns. Yep, I could even make the phone call this evening. Which angle do you think we should go for? Refusal to renew? Mandatory eviction? Can you imagine if I made phone calls to all of my friends about you? Can you imagine how far you'd fall? I'm thinking you hit rock bottom before you even realized what was going on.
Oh my god, don't! Don't, please!
Let me spell it out. If I do decide to take revenge on you, you will lose all that you hold dear. You'll be lucky if you even get to keep the clothes on your back. Your blood will run cold with terror and you will be plunged into the depths of despair, hopelessness, and suffering. Doesn't that sound nice?
Please, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, I mean it!
Don't you think you're apologizing to the wrong person? And by text, really? Don't you think it'd be more appropriate to get yourself down here and beg for forgiveness on your hands and knees?
Yeah, you're right. I'm so sorry. I promise I ain't ever gonna do anything like this again. I never thought it would come to this.
Your luck ran out when you made the fatal error of taking me for some harmless old woman. I'm not trying to brag, but I have friends in high places. Exterminating a wretched little worm like you would be child's play.
I'm so sorry, really. I'm so sorry. Please don't do it.
We'll be continuing this conversation in court through our lawyers. Goodbye. Immediately after that, Dexter and his parents rushed down to the orphanage in an attempt to apologize for their behavior. But the time for apologies has passed, and they were delusional to think otherwise. I told them they could apologize in court and sent them on their way. They would accept it and sat down on the floor outside the orphanage like petulant children, leaving me with no choice but to call the police. They quickly stood up and hightailed it out of there when they realized who I was on the phone, too. Obviously, Charlotte won the trial. Dexter and his lover were ordered to pay a combined total of $75,000 in compensation. In order to come with the money, he and his parents were forced to move out of the house and sell all of their personal belongings. To add insult to injury, his lover, furious about being dragged into such a catastrophic situation, broke up with him no sooner than the trial was over. Now, last I heard, Dexter and his parents are living in an apartment so cramped and tiny they're like rats huddled together in a cage. Between his company losing their biggest trading partner as a result of a few choice words of advice to my son, and his reputation as an abusive scumbag circulating around the office, his work life is now a living hell. I was astonished he didn't get fired, but in a way, this is actually more satisfying. He deserves everything he gets, so I can't say I feel bad for him. Charlotte's gradually returning to her old, vibrant, bubbly self while living at the orphanage. She's helping me out by looking after the children and doing various odd jobs while recuperating. Here's to the start of Charlotte's new life. She deserves to be happy.